Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Giving You Keys to Homeownership. I'm your host, Kimberly Watson Johnson, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we have one of the most knowledgeable down payment assistance lenders in Tampa Bay as our guest. Tommy BEARINT has been my go-to down payment assistance specialist for over 7 years. He has worked in the down payment assistance for over 9 years. Tommy, introduce yourself and tell the viewers what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Again, my name is Tommy BEARINT. I have been in the mortgage industry for over 25 years. I am currently with Cross Country Mortgage. I'm a sales manager and a loan officer. I have a team there, and we can handle any type of mortgage that's out there. But I know today we're going to focus on down payment assistance and first-time home buyers. That is my niche. I have been doing it for close to a decade. I'm familiar with all the programs out there. I'm one of the top lenders in the state for all of these programs, so I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you for coming to join us. Welcome back to Giving You Keys to Homeownership. Today we are talking with Mr. Tommy BEARINT from Cross Country Mortgage about down payment assistance. So, Tommy, we have a few questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
All right. So, of course, this is going to be a repeat, but how long have you been doing down payment assistance programs?
As I mentioned earlier, I've been doing it for close to 10 years, a little over 9 years. They've been around. They've rolled out with new programs. Some come in, some come out. So I try to stay on top of them all, and I'm familiar with all of them.
Great, great. And which counties offer these programs?
Every county in Florida has funds available. There's different programs in every county, depending on the type of buyer and the type of loan that the home purchaser is seeking will dictate which loan program we go with. Some counties have more programs than others, but yes, every county in Florida has funds available.
Okay. Now, I have heard people talk about like county money, SHIP funds, stuff like that, but then you also have state things. So kind of give me an idea, what's the difference between the county money and state money? Those are the best way to put it.
Yeah, there's some counties, there's funds that are available directly from the county. For example, Hillsborough County has a county program. It's called the Home Sweet Home program. And then Hillsborough County also has state funds as well. So depending on which county you're looking at, I can go in there and see if there's county funds available or if there's state funds available and which program is going to be best suited for the buyer.
Okay. Do they ever run out of funds?
Some do. Some don't.
Okay.
Some do have a time limit, some don't.
Okay, great. Okay, now these are some of the important things that I know everybody out there wants to know. Are there credit score requirements, income requirements, purchase price requirements, and do the buyers have to be a first-time home buyer? So that's a whole couple things there going on.
Let me go down the list there. So yes, the credit score requirement is 640 for most of the programs. There is one program out there which only requires a 620, but it currently is not active. It's active, but it's not at a point where we're using it because the rates are not. It's not beneficial to the buyer, I should say. Okay. I'm not going to mention the name of the program, but for all the other programs out there, 640 is the score where you need to be at. As far as being a first-time home buyer, yes, these programs are designed for first-time home buyers. However, there are some programs where you can actually own a home as long as you haven't lived in it in the past 3 years. You are considered a first-time home buyer. I know that's kind of a niche-y situation, but...
Well, before you go further with the other parts of that question, I want to kind of touch on something about you just mentioned the 3 years. Okay, so they haven't lived in a home for 3 years. They're considered a first-time home buyer again?
Yeah. For example, if they bought a house and say they rented it out, it's investment property, and they went somewhere and they rented somewhere else for 3 years, haven't lived in that house for 3 years, and we can prove that, then they would be considered a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
And there are certain programs out there, as long as they qualify, where we could get the down payment assistance funds for them. Okay.
Well, let's say they have previously owned a home, but they don't own it any longer. Is that it? Does the 3 years work for those type of people also?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
good.
As long as they haven't owned a house in 3 years, then they're considered first-time home buyer.
So every 3 years, as long as I get rid of the house, I'm a first-time home buyer.
Yep, for all purposes of these programs, you are.
Okay. Now let's touch base on income. Did we hit the income?
We didn't hit the income. The income is every program has different income limits, and some of the programs look at household income. Even if wife isn't going to be on the loan, they're still going to look at her income. Some programs look at the whole household income. Some programs look at just the person on the application, their income, and every county, the income, there's a table that I look at, and the income limits differ and vary from county to county.
Okay. Now, I've had people tell me that, well, basically I have to be poor to get down payment assistance.
Not true.
Okay.
No.
So you can still make a decent wage and qualify for down payment assistance, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a new program that came out, and the cap for most of the counties around here in our area is $123,000. So you can make up to $123,000 and still get down payment assistance.
Did you say $123,000 and they can get down payment assistance?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
my
ma'am.
goodness.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to talk. I need to buy a house. Another house. No. Oh, man. I've been on this house. Anyway. All right. Okay. So purchase price. Is there a limit on the house they can purchase? Like, how much can they purchase up to?
Yes, Jay. Just like the income requirements, every county has different purchase price limits. And
Okay.
it depends on if you're going with the county program or the state program, will dictate how high you can go on the purchase price.
Okay.
Now, there's a new program out, which we're going to touch on here in a minute, where there is no purchase price limit. There's just a loan limit. So.
Oh, okay. Oh. Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds, we're going to touch on that in a minute.
Okay.
So I know that Governor DeSantis rolled out a Hometown Heroes down payment assistance program. And a few months, he rolled it out a few months back.
Correct.
Okay, can you provide us with details on that program? Because I think that's one of the programs we are really kind of pushing right now,
Yeah,
the Hometown Heroes.
It's the hot one right now, and that's the one I was referencing that does not have a purchase price limit. You can go conventional or you can go FHA, and as long as your loan limit isn't over those limits, your purchase price, there's no cap on it. So
Okay.
feasibly, you could buy, like, the conforming limit is $647,200. If someone wants to buy a $1 million house and puts down enough money to get it to $647,000, they could get up to $25,000 to use for down payment assistance. That program provides up to 5% of the loan amount for down payment and closing costs, and it goes up to 5% of the loan amount.
Okay, so we're looking, like you said, you can get up to $25,000 here in
Yeah,
Florida.
your loan amount would have to be $500,000 to get the full 25.
Okay. Things to think about. It's things to think about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
that is the Hillsborough. Now, okay, that's for all counties, not just Hillsborough.
yeah,
That's
the
for all.
Hometown Heroes is all counties, and it's based on your occupation. You do have to be in a certain occupation. It's a very extensive list, which a lot of people don't realize. And when you think of Hometown Heroes, everybody thinks of teachers, policemen, firemen, paramedics. All those folks are on there, of course, but there's also a lot of other occupations that are on that list, and I have it, and I can send that out to you. But there's over 50 occupations on there, like X-ray technicians, veterinarians,
Oh, okay.
child care providers. Yeah, it's a pretty deep list.
Wow, that is pretty deep, because I remember, like, you could only do, when they did like the Heroes programs, they were usually always a nurse or a policeman.
Yeah.
It was really pretty limited, firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, I've heard that Hillsborough County does have a special program. Now, can you tell us about that one, the Hillsborough County one?
Yeah, it's one of I do quite a bit of these, obviously, because we're in the area. It's called the Home Sweet Home program, and it provides the full $25,000 no matter what. There's no cap on it. So that $25,000 in most cases will cover the down payment. It's an FHA product. You need 3.5% down, and the rest of it goes towards closing costs. And usually there's enough left over where you can put more on the front as a down payment to get the payment even lower. So I've had a lot of folks close and get to the table, and they sign, get the keys to their house, and they don't even have to bring any money to the closing table.
Okay, now, and that's the...
Home Sweet Home.
So Home Sweet Home is in Hillsborough County, and it's $25,000. Period.
$25,000.
You don't need to buy a $500,000 home.
You don't need it. You don't need a $500,000.
You get to $25,000.
Correct.
Okay, but it's Hillsborough County.
Hillsborough.
Now I know Hillsborough has their weirdness, so it doesn't matter whether it's city, unincorporated, corporate. It's just Hillsborough County.
Any house in Hillsborough.
In Hillsborough, and you haven't owned in 3 years, you get the home sweet home.
Home sweet home.
$25,000.
$25,000. Correct.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot
Yeah.
of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, is the home sweet home program, is it income contingent?
It is, yes. And the income requirements on those are a little bit lower than the Hometown Heroes,
Right.
but it depends on household size. This is one program that does look at the whole household.
Okay.
So if you've got teenagers in the house that are working, they're going to look at their income. So that's where you got to really look at the file pretty closely and make sure we're not over limit on that one.
Okay. So that is your home sweet home. I like it. It's sweet. $25,000 is
Very,
sweet.
very sweet.
Okay, great. Welcome back to Giving You Keys to Home Ownership. Tommy BEARINT from Cross Country Mortgage. He's enlightening us about down payment assistance in the Tampa Bay area. So, we've talked about Home Sweet Home and Hometown Heroes. Mm-hmm. What other down payment assistance programs are out there?
There's quite a few. There's the Florida Bond Program, which is every county has it, and you can get up to $10,000. It has an FHA component. It has a conventional component. There's FHA Preferred, FHA Advantage. Those have to do with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Some of those are forgivable. Those are the ones I was mentioning earlier, where after 5 years, the money is actually, after 5 years, you don't have to pay any of the funds back.
Okay.
So those are a little bit tougher to get qualified for as far as conventional. You only need a 640 score to qualify for any of these programs, but for those, I'm seeing you probably need to be up around 680 to actually get an approval in the system.
Okay. So the 640 is fine, but because they're very strict, you're finding that a 680 is their sweet spot, so to speak.
Yeah, FHA is a little more flexible.
Okay.
Because these are just regular loans, other than the down. Everybody always asks me, so are you just doing the down payment assistance piece? And the answer is no, I'm doing the whole loan. And the first loan is just the regular loan part.
Okay.
So
Okay.
FHA is a little more flexible, easier to get approved for than conventional.
Okay. Now, when you're getting a down payment assistance, are your interest rates going to be higher with your down payment assistance as opposed to the other, if you didn't use down payment assistance?
Regular loans.
Regular straight loans, would you bring your own 3.5%?
The answer right now is actually no. There's quite a few of these programs where the rates on these down payment assistance programs are lower than what you would get if you weren't using the program. If you've been following the rate market at all, which I'm sure you have.
It's
because you're in the
volatile
business,
right now.
It's extremely volatile. Rates are going up. They're going to continue to go up. And the rates on all these programs are extremely comparable to regular loans where you're not using the assistance.
Okay. Well, we've been kind of getting here like a good clip going on. So I do want to take some time and focus a little bit more on the Governor DeSantis program.
Okay.
Because that's the one you hear about on the news a lot.
Sure.
The home sweet home is great, but that's only in Hillsborough. So over as Florida as a whole, we want to really kind of try to get that Hometown Heroes information out. So
Sure.
Give us a little bit more information on that. Just kind of tell me a little bit more in regards to the Hometown Heroes. What can you just give us? Whatever you can give us about it.
Well, you have to, like I said, it's an extremely long list. It's an extensive list, and you have to be licensed or registered. And we have websites where we send the clients out to, and they can pull down their license. Pretty much anybody. If it's medical, if you do something in the medical field, you're probably on the list. And there's a class you have to take. I think we might get into that a little bit later, but that's really easy to do. We have a place you go online and you do that. It doesn't cost any money. And then you pull down your certificate. We confirm with your employer that you're working there, and this is important. Like, for example, a police officer has to be currently working as a police officer. It can't be a retired police officer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of
so
people
you
have
have
that.
to be in the field,
Yeah,
working in the field.
You have to be working in that field.
Okay. Now, I know, and I'm bringing this up because I know we had a young lady that, okay, she works in at a medical office. However, she's like the administrative assistant. She's like an admin.
No,
she's not like on the medical side, like the medical assistant or a CNA or any LPN nurse.
You have to be certified or registered or have a license.
You have to have some type of license.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Wow. So secretaries don't get to qualify?
I don't believe so, unless you're a state attorney assistant. There's a couple that just got added to the list, so they're updating this.
They are up, and they're always updating this list because I remember for a while we're up to what you say almost 50 different occupations.
There was almost 50, and then they added a couple more. I don't know if they're going to add anything further, but I think there's some people. If you work for the FBI, you can get down payment assistance.
FBI, call me.
Yeah.
FBI, call me. State attorney, call me. Actually, anyone, call me. Okay, sorry, Tommy. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish that.
Yeah, call her and she'll call me.
Yep, they'll call me, call him. We're gonna call each other. So go ahead.
Yeah.
You were saying though. Now, to qualify for these programs, I do know that they have to take a class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what does that class entail? I mean, like, what kind of class is this?
It's really simple. You can go take the full 8-hour, the whole day class. There's one that, I think that one costs money, and you'll learn a wealth of information. It's good. But for these programs, I've got somewhere you can go online. It's free. It takes about 10 minutes. You just zip through it, and you print out the certificate and send it over.
But what are you learning? What is it? What are you learning?
They just want to make sure that you understand what debt-to-income ratios are. They want to make sure that you...
Stop. What is a debt-to-income ratio? There are people out there that may not know what that is.
That's a great question. Debt-to-income ratio is the ratio of the income you have coming in versus the mortgage payment you have going out along with your other bills. And there are limits on these programs on how high your debt-to-income ratio can be.
Okay, now wait a minute. Are they gonna look at my money that they say I get, or are they gonna look at the money that I get after Uncle Sam? My great uncle took his money.
We go off the gross.
Okay, so you go off the money before my uncle takes his piece.
Absolutely.
Okay, well that's good to know. So, your uncle don't get to take away from your house. So, okay, that's good. So you learn about the debt to income. Money going out as opposed to what's coming in. Correct. What else?
They just want to make sure that, I know they talk about utilities. They want to make sure people are aware that there's more than just the mortgage payment. You're going to have utilities. They kind of touch on that.
Okay.
And they just want to make sure people are prepared and understand what expenses they're going to be walking into.
Okay, so it's kind of like an educational thing to let them understand that, yes, we're giving you this, but also you need to be aware. It's okay. Correct. And the longer, I know the 8-hour class kind of wants them to talk about saving and expenses of if you have if something happens in the home. I do remember that the class would have you go over like, hey, sometimes things break down and you need to be prepared to pay for those. Correct. So the longer class does kind of touch on those things. Correct. Okay, so that's good. Okay, and then the other question I had. Keisha, cut this piece out. Anyway, let's get back to where we were. Baby, she gonna cut this piece out. She got to. This one, I lost it. We were getting good. It was good. Oh, there we go. It's back. Yay. Keisha, cut this out. Take it out. Okay, so anyway, back to where we were. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about the down payment assistance. I don't want to go through this whole thing again. Okay, so does the money does have to be paid back? And what we want to know, now this is a good one for me and my family. Are there any special programs out there for our veterans?
Absolutely, there is. And the veterans used to have their own separate program called the Salute Our Soldiers program. Mm-hmm. And it's a good one for me, too. My son actually just joined the Marines. That one sunsetted, and now it's part of the Hometown Heroes. So the Hometown Heroes includes veterans, so they get 5% of the loan amount as well.
Okay, so they don't get the Come on, you mean we can't get them up to where they get the whole 25,000? This is a good question here. Okay, that just crossed my mind. Can you stack down payment assistance?
That is an excellent question. For these programs, you can't. There are certain instances, like there are some city programs out there where you can stack some of those programs, but those programs are for certain houses in certain areas. I don't do a whole heck of a lot of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the target area homes.
Yeah.
You can stack, if it's a target area home, you can stack down payment assistance.
Yeah,
some
of
types
the city
of the
programs
assistance.
have those,
Okay,
yeah.
but for these you can't stack these. These
Correct.
are, you have to
One or the other.
One or the other. You don't get to do that. Okay, so that's good to know. All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about in this right now before we go any further?
Other than, I know a lot of realtors that I work with try to learn all this information. They want to learn the income limits for each county and what are the different programs for this county and how much do you need to make for this county. It's very confusing. It's a lot of information. So what I advise my real estate partners is find out the basics. Are you a first-time home buyer? Do you think you're at a 640 credit score? What's your occupation? If it sounds like a good candidate, get them over to me and I'll take it from there and figure out the best option for them.
Okay. Well, you can understand with Kimberly here, I used to be a mortgage broker, and one of the things I have learned is this. If I have a question, I call Tommy. If I have a client that I think may be interested in down payment assistance, I call Tommy. In closing, I am going to make a recommendation for you to call Tommy. Tommy, give them your contact information.
Absolutely. My phone number is 813-786-1941. I'll repeat that for you. 813-786-1941. My website is www.mortgages, with an S, mortgagesbytommy, TOMMY.com. It's very user-friendly. Just pop on the website, plug your information in, and we'll be in touch with you ASAP.
ASAP?
ASAP.
All right, so that's good. That's good to know. All right, so today I would like to thank you for watching Giving You Keys to Homeownership. I forgot who I am. For a full picture of today's housing market and how it plays into your home plans, reach out to me, Kimberly Watson Johnson, at 727-946-6949. That's it for today's show. Thank you for watching Giving You Keys to Homeownership. Join us next week when we will cover what does a title company actually do in a home buying process.